Well, good evening, and that's our original introduction that we haven't used for a long time. It's still got that blob of a coronavirus on it, which reminds us what we've been through, and now it's hopefully daylight ahead of us. Encourage folks to get the vaccine, and want to remind you that Quarantine Tonight is live. It's local. It is about Nebraska artists, and it's for Nebraska residents. So we're going to have a couple on tonight that you are very familiar with. Kevin and Heidi Cheng have been with us. I want to say this is either their 5th or 6th appearance on our show, and each time they come, it's a new set of music, it's a new sound, it's something different. It's a break from polka, it's a break from country, it's a break from rock. It's instrumental music with her on the violin and him on the piano, which you can't find many other places. So we are very lucky to have the Chengs with us tonight on News Channel Nebraska. Had to catch myself there because I'm doing this evening program, and then I'm also on the radio in the mornings during the month of July. So if there's an airwave in my neighborhood, I'm on it at some point during the day. Hey, let's get started like we do each and every weeknight with our evening prayer.
God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. My name is Pastor Charles Kathurima, and I'm a pastor here at the First United Methodist Church in Nebraska City. I'd like to invite you for a time of prayer. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we are so thankful for your faithfulness. We know that your mercies are new every day. We count on you to guide us and lead us. We at this time like to continue to lift our children as they go back to school. And dear God, you may protect them, protect their teachers, all those who are helping. We continue to pray that you may protect all the medical staff that take care of the sick people, doctors, nurses, first responders. And dear Lord, you may keep on teaching us new ways that we need to take care of one another by protecting ourselves so that we may not pass the COVID to other people. Bless us now, Lord, and bless us for the days to come. In your name, Christ Jesus, we pray and believe. Amen.
Well, look who the cat drug in. Kevin and Heidi Cheng are back here on News Channel Nebraska. This is their 5th or 6th appearance. We've lost count, but it's nice to see you both. How's the summer been treating you?
Good. Yes, we had a great 4th of July, so that was great.
I tell you what, just a little background here. Kevin grew up in Taiwan where, thanks to his mother and his own interest, he got very classically trained on the piano and made his way to Nebraska as an exchange student. He makes his way to Central City, basically, and Heidi grows up in Kearney. They end up meeting. She's on the Kearney City Orchestra, which is still in existence today.
Yes.
And they end up getting to know each other. They clean a deer together. He's a hunter. That's the act of romance that leads to this act of marriage. And then they take their show on the road, literally almost every day since. And they've been on the road for how many years?
3 years. We just celebrated 3 years of marriage last week.
And they went right to work together right after they got married. So 3 years on the road. Don't worry, don't think this is a big tour bus. It's him and her.
Yes.
In a car in a pickup essentially with a piano in the back.
Yes.
If I could change anything, and I'm going to make an appeal here, if you are at home and maybe you're retired and you've got a beautiful grand piano in your house, if we could just borrow it, for a year, we could allow Kevin to play. Remember that piano we had from Lutheran High Northeast? It was fantastic, wasn't it? It was the most beautiful sound ever. And it was so nice that we attracted a lot more pianists because we had this beautiful piano. We don't want to buy one. We just want to borrow one, and we'll tune it up and get it back and tune it up at your house again when we're done. But Kevin, talk to me here. You're doing some patriotic tonight. You're doing some 60s music, some polka. She talked you into everything. What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm trying to think. We're going to play a little bit of the show tune music, and that's one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah. And what's your favorite of all those genres we just talked about?
Wow, it's hard to decide. We've kind of picked up a little bit of the folk polka, so the polka that goes back to like the original stuff, and that is so much fun. And you can see where it came from and its roots. And
I love the show you did on the music of the Civil War.
yes,
That was one of my favorites that you did there. And you like the patriotic stuff. You dabble in that quite a bit.
Yes.
And they have a story. They were in Verdigris, and everybody in Verdigris watches them on Quarantine Tonight. They walked into a diner or what was it, a bakery?
Shop.
A coffee shop in Verdigris, and everybody that walked in was watching you. Of any town in Nebraska, Verdigris is where we get the best comments from. So
Great.
One guy even said he gets in his pajamas and sits in his easy chair, and that's his night, right?
Right.
That's how we roll up here north of the Platte River. We get our jammies on about 6:30, and we start watching Quarantine Tonight. All right. Well, what is the first song you're thinking about taking off with tonight?
It's going to be the Stars and Stripes Forever, which is a John Philip Sousa march, written specifically for the 4th of July. And so we're still going to hang around the 4th of July just a little bit and share some of our experiences this year about that.
That's great. Well, and we've got our American flag posted exactly where it needs to be. So,
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy this tonight. This is Kevin, his wife Heidi. These are the Chengs. They're from Central City, Nebraska, but they don't get there very often because they're always on the road performing. And tonight they're on News Channel Nebraska.
All right, the Stars Stars and Stripes forever for the 4th of July. We hope you all are still feeling patriotic, even though it's been a week after the 4th of July. Kevin and I had a great experience of traveling around rural Nebraska. You might have seen us. We played live music for a live fireworks display. It was very exciting, except it was really dry where we were playing, and so thankfully God sent a little bit of rain before the fireworks were set off. So such a great time to celebrate. We're coming out of COVID and being able to get together and celebrate the birthday of our country back in 1776. July 4th, the date of it was kind of debated. John Adams thought it should be the 2nd. There was someone else who thought it should be the 8th because that's when the Declaration of Independence was read, but that is what our nation comes together to celebrate, and that shouldn't be forgotten. Very important to remember what made us a country, and that's what we're here to celebrate with you tonight. So get out your stars and stripes, and we call it Independence Day for a reason, and something that should not be forgotten is that freedom is not free. Today, we actually had the privilege of meeting somebody who was born near Normandy, or very close to Omaha Beach, and she told her experiences. She married someone from the U.S. Armed Services who was over there during World War II. And she shared about her experiences, how we are so blessed here in America. She saw a lot of history. That's what we love to see. We've traveled, we've gone to small town cemeteries and been able to honor those who fought for our country. We're going to, if you are a part of the United States Armed Services or have been in the past and are a veteran, we would like to honor you tonight with this next selection coming up your way called the Armed Services Medley. So if that was you and you are served in the armed services, a huge thank you to us. As we're driving along, maybe in your part of the state, on 281 coming south, and it turns off to Highway 12. It's way up in the northern part of Nebraska around Butte. There's a big sign that says If you love freedom, thank a vet. And that's kind of what we remember on the 4th of July. Of course, the celebration, the fireworks, the parades, the games. Well, it started back at the beginning. However, it really did not become an established tradition until more after the War of 1812 and continuing on from there after the Civil War. And a lot happened between then and our history, and probably one of the saddest times in our history to see when family came against family during the Civil War, but it did eventually end, and what a great day that was. And so we know that the price of freedom is not free, it comes with a price, and many gave their lives for that. And so this is what this next selection speaks of. You're going to have to hear the words through my violin, but it's called Going Home. And if you've watched a movie called Gods and Generals, it's on the Civil War, great movie if you're looking for something to watch. And it's at the beginning where it honors and represents each flag, each state per se. But I feel like it applies very much so to anyone who has served. So enjoy. So, okay, we're still at the 4th of July. We hope you had a fantastic event on that day. I know growing up, there was a lot of celebration going on, and my brothers sometimes teased me quite a lot because when I was young, I wore little pigtails, and they told me that if they lit those pigtails, I'd be one big firecracker. And I did not like that. But so many traditions, family traditions, local traditions, we've seen a lot of culture represented here in Nebraska, and we're going to go over that because we traveled around and were able to be a part of that. One of the things I enjoyed growing up on that 4th of July was eating good watermelon. There's some great watermelon out this time of year. Go out to your local farmers markets and buy it. So great to support local farmers. So we're all about that as well. So, well, we're still going through history, and this next one I think will surprise you with what you hear. Now, we're going to pull out and warm up the marching band. Now, you might be wondering what we're talking about because there's only 2 people, and we only have a total of 14 fingers to make that marching band possible. So how are we going to do it? Well, take a listen, and listen very carefully. There is going to be 3 melodies in particular hidden inside of this one. This is a classic favorite. If you were in marching band, you'll recognize it. So here we go.
Well, if that isn't patriotic, I don't know what is. Thank you very much, Chengs. We appreciate you being on the show today. And that is that all of your patriotic music? Do we have another round, or we're going on to a new topic here next?
We're going on to a new topic next.
Isn't it fun to work together, husband and wife? So I was talking to them. They've been doing a lot of shows in Lincoln and Omaha, but this Friday or Thursday?
Thursday and Friday.
You're going to be in Grand Island?
Grand Island, Loop City, and Broken Bow.
Oh, my goodness. What's the furthest west you've gone in Nebraska?
Scottsbluff.
Well, that's as west as you can go. That's about as west as you can go. Have you been up to Chadron?
We haven't. We've been to Julesburg, which is right next to the Colorado border. So Imperial, Nebraska, which I do know there are some Imperial folks watching. And if you are, hello, all the way from Western Nebraska. Great to have you.
Now, Taiwan, let's talk about this for a second. Your mom's in Taiwan. You talk to her often. She survived the coronavirus because they were in a real lockdown there, right? And she gets through the coronavirus pandemic. The country of Taiwan is kind of back to normal, but they don't have the vaccine available yet for adults. Is that right?
They have a vaccine, but they're in the testing stage, and so Mom says she does not want to be a white rat for the lab, so.
So we have so much the same conversation in America. But have you two had the vaccine yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So we'll see where this goes, ladies and gentlemen. But everyone in your family's been healthy so far.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
Very good. Well, let's go ahead and check Mike's mailbag and find out what's in the mailbag today. We've gotten so many great letters. We get so many great ones about the Chengs, too. Just the beautiful sounds that they make. Here's one from Mary Ann in Rochester, Minnesota. Thank you for the broadcast of the Czech music that I listen to, sing along with, and sometimes dance to as you're on Facebook for News Channel Nebraska. I followed you during quarantine nights. Thank you. God bless you. Well, thank you, Mary Ann, for that. We appreciate it. Here's one from Beatrice. I enjoy Quarantine Tonight, polkas, and most everything. All of it is good. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you for watching in Beatrice. And here's a viewer from Norfolk. The no admission public show, there was a man who didn't have a dance partner and danced every dance by himself. He was in complete rhythm with the music and was a joy to watch. He kept me more entertained than big names. A real joy to watch, whoever he is. And I got to tell you, Kevin and Heidi, we had a kind of an open dance with the Leo Lani Orchestra, and it was a polka night. And there was a man, I was talking about this last night, who came to the show by himself. He danced the entire night by himself, kind of line dancing and scooting around the dance floor. And I have had more people talk to me about how much they enjoyed his effort. And he had kind of bushy sideburns and a cowboy hat and been dancing for a long time. Wow. It just, I think, made a lot of people's nights that there was somebody fun like that to watch.
That is so great.
You never know what kind of contribution you make to somebody else just by being yourself.
Yes.
Isn't that true?
Absolutely.
We're going to have lots more of Kevin and Heidi here tonight, and we appreciate you watching. I want to encourage you to send us a note. We're going to be setting up a plan for August and September. Mostly because we've got all sorts of things to wrestle with. The show continues to evolve, and we'd like to know what acts that have been on you'd like to see more of. Or if you have a new band or somebody that is a band you'd like to share, then send us a note to 214 North 7th Street in Norfolk, 68701. And I'm going to leave this address up here. If you would like a postcard that tells you what shows are going to be on every night, you can send us just a note that says, hey, Mike, send me the postcard. That would be all I ask. And we won't put you on TV. If you tell us a story and you say, hey, don't put this on TV, we won't do it. We try to really respect everybody that sends us a note, and we have gotten enough letters to keep us busy, but we need yours. 214 North 7th Street in Norfolk, 68701. All right, let's check that forecast. What will happen? How much rain will we see in the next 24 hours? I'm kind of braced for it. Severe thunderstorm watches are out there. Plus, a look at that news. What's happening across the great state of Nebraska? You're watching NCN. get all ready. Kevin's just still punching numbers here. We had a good break there, and we appreciate you watching. We've still got an hour and a half with Kevin and Heidi here. Now, what are we going to do next for our viewers tonight? What are you thinking?
We are going to feature some 1960s classics.
Oh, good.
And this is kind of fun because these are groups that actually Kevin has had more experience with than I have. So if you can believe that, the Beatles and Elvis Presley came to Taiwan.
Oh.
And so his mom has gotten to see some of these groups live. And so he grew up with this music. I grew up more with the classical music. And so it's been kind of fun to play these together. And Kevin says, oh, yeah, you know.
Is your mom watching tonight in Taiwan? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Now, what time of day is it in Taiwan?
It's 13 hours ahead, so it'll be 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so this is her mid-morning break, actually.
Yes.
Here. And she likes the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Mm-hmm. And he toured in Taiwan.
Besides that, there were quite a few. We grew up, my mom has CD of Beatles and Brad and Eagles. Those were the group that, and also Elvis Presley that went through Taiwan, so.
Did you grow up speaking English too?
Not a whole lot.
But she knew all the songs. Mm-hmm. Did she speak English growing up, or she just knew the songs?
She knows English too.
Okay. Well, I'd say she did a pretty good job raising you up, right? Wouldn't you say, Heidi? Well, you married him, so you obviously endorsed that. All right, what are we going to start with here?
A Hard Day's Night.
Hard Day's Night. Ladies and gentlemen, a little British invasion right here, second night in a row on the only station featuring Nebraska talent, News Channel Nebraska.
A Hard Day's Night and the Beatles, and as was mentioned before, they are truly world renowned, and even if people might not know English, they might know the words to some of these popular songs. Now, as we've traveled and visited with maybe some of you watching tonight, we've learned, because we were born in the 90s, so we have to learn a little bit about the 60s and when rock and roll was coming out. Now, as far jazz music goes, this is about as rock and roll as a piano and a violin can get. But we do enjoy some of those Beatles songs, and every time we go somewhere, someone is singing along or sharing a memory. And speaking of memories, there are so many that have been shared. If we could write a book of the stories that have been told us of the days in the 1930s here in Nebraska, and even farther into World War II, the 1950s, how small towns used to be burgeoning with life, and how things have kind of changed now, but the memories are still there. And all that I am talking about leads up to another Beatles classic that is absolutely beautiful. Hopefully it will take you back in time to what might have felt like just yesterday. Yesterday by the Beatles, and we're bringing you 1960s classics. Now, most of the music we're playing is older than we are, and we aren't shy about our age. We're 25 and 26. I just turned 26. I'm older than he is just by a little bit. And we've celebrated 3 years of marriage, which is so wonderful. The Lord has blessed us so much. And so we love bringing genres from the past to you, maybe helping you relive those memories. We've played plenty of dance music recently, as well as some of the classics, and those are certainly coming up. Now, maybe you're hearing some of these songs and you wonder, wow, I'd like to hear it live. You can do that. Kevin and I play for anything, whether it's a family reunion or a birthday party or just to get together in your back porch, a neighborhood party. We would love to be a part of that and provide you just the perfect music to fit the occasion. As you will hear, we play a lot of different genres, and we can play anything you request as well. So you can give us a call if you would like, 308-293-0754. We'll mention that again. But back to the music. Elvis Presley, also a 1960s star, known for one of the best love songs that I think will endure for quite some time. Okay, yes, bringing you some of the best from the 1960s, and I feel like we can't do it justice. If you heard us live during the month of May, this is what we were featuring, as well as musicals. And just to touch on that briefly, if you are wanting to watch a good musical, guaranteed go to the decade of the 1960s. You're going to find some fantastic ones. The Sound of Music came from that time, Fiddler on the Roof, and many others. Well, speaking of musicals, we're going to bring you something just slightly different, but kind of still on the same note. Here's a couple TV show tunes for you. Now, Kevin and I are old souls as far as that goes, and so we're going to bring just a couple of them for you and let you maybe try to guess what they are. We'll announce them after we play them, so take a listen and a guess. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that represents the good old days, and that's exactly what it's called. Did you hear? Did you catch the show? Okay, now this takes us back, way back, to a great one representing young children in their growing up years, The Little Rascals. Folks, if you haven't watched it in a while, take a chance, take an opportunity, I should say, to go and listen and watch and enjoy. There's just a lot of simple fun. They were a little ornery too, and that's kind of what makes it fun. We are old souls. We go watch these. We get a good laugh out of it, which we could all use a good laugh many, many times. Now, kind of going ahead a few years to, yes, more in your 1960s era, here is a great show. And Kevin and I have done a little bit of outdoor work. And just to give a sneak peek, sometimes when we go to do that outdoor work, we come straight from a performance. And so we're all dressed up. He's in his suit, I'm in my dress, and we're doing this work. And it kind of reminds me of a show. I think you'll recognize this tune coming right up. Okay, very short and to the point. You just heard Green Acres. Okay, that's the place for me, right? Green Acres. Here we are. And so take a chance to watch that. It's a comedy of a couple trying to run a farm. Okay, now, okay, here is definitely a listener's favorite, a TV show tune and a classical work all in one. It doesn't get better than the Lone Ranger, ladies and gentlemen. So hang on tight for the ride. little bit of Lone Ranger, William Tell Overture, and again, a great TV show. And yes, absolutely. Maybe that takes you back in time. And hey, it's fun to ride along with this one. I know a lot of young children love this one when we perform. Well, Nebraska weather's been humid. I just heard someone walking outside that it felt really humid. Well, I talked to someone from Tennessee just yesterday, and I said, so what's the difference between Nebraska weather and Tennessee weather? And he said, it's more humid in Tennessee, which I cannot imagine. But we're gonna do a quick one from the 1960s from the Tennessee mountains. So here we go. So, okay, a little bit from the 1960s and a little bit from those old TV shows. What do you have to look forward to next? Well, we're going to move into some ragtime and some polka. And let me tell you, polka on the piano is pretty great. So stay tuned with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next set.
All right, welcome back to Quarantine Tonight here at News Channel Nebraska, and I actually have a very special guest tonight. With me is a new coworker of mine, Kaylin Debin. Kaylin grew up in Shenandoah, Iowa, went to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, where he was the trumpet leader on your row, right? Is that what it?
Yeah, I was a part of like I wasn't necessarily part of like the actual leadership team, but I would consider myself one of the top members of the section. I'll just say that.
He's a little musical, can play the trumpet. He had some piano lessons. He liked to sing in high school, and he just started running the morning show in Norfolk, and he's getting sworn in tonight as a deputy host on Quarantine Tonight. Had a wonderful guy named Chris Williams who made his way to Texas and did such a good job on the show, and I wanted to show Kaylin around and show him all this stuff. Kaylin, you are looking back at an audience of thousands of people in their recliners and on their couches. We have spent a lot of time together. We understand each other, and I know that I know this audience, and they are going to enjoy you. This is a very, very nice young man who is getting in the broadcasting business. When did your mom figure out that she had a ham on her hands?
I don't know. I think I was pretty quiet when I was growing up. I remember one conversation where she's in sales at a radio station, and she said to me, "Hey, when people start talking to you, you got to look them in the eye." And I think from then on, I joined speech. I joined theater in high school. So then from then on, it kind of just helped me grow into more extrovert of a person and just kind of be more humorous, more funny, more comedic. You know, don't take things so seriously.
You're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. It's those really serious people that we got to loosen up a little bit. And we get people that roll with the punches. Musicians roll with the punches. They understand how to ad-lib. So what advice would you have, Kevin and Heidi, for Caelan? And by the way, it's spelled Caelan. That's the Irish spelling of Caelan.
Wow.
That's a difficult one, yes. What advice would you have for him to be a guest host on Quarantine Tonight someday?
Well, I feel like and you'll get warmed up to it, but really we just have an outline and we give ourselves room and to kind of give and take. Sometimes when you structure things so much, it's hard to put some of the things you really want to add.
Says the woman that believes in structure. Am I right or am I right? Yeah, she is good. She's very organized. She has all of her songs listed out, and she's the only person that we let just go to commercial break on her own. Because she knows exactly how to do it. So that's great, though. And this guy over here, you got to see at the end when you're watching it, he just goes and goes and goes on those keys, and it's a sight to see how you get going. And then she's over there on the violin, and between the two of them, they make some beautiful music. So Caelan here, his girlfriend's actually from Ravenna, Nebraska.
Oh, very good.
Yes. Now, is she musical at all?
I think she did choir for a couple of years, maybe a year or two in high school, but I don't think she would consider herself musical. I'm not going to say that she's not, because
Yeah, her folks could be watching. You realize that.
You're right. You're right. I'll just say that she would claim that she's not very musical.
Now, he grew up in the town that the Everly Brothers got their start, Shenandoah, Iowa, at the radio station his mom works for, which is legendary in radio. It's called KMA Radio, and the farmers in the 1940s and 1950s just flocked to Shenandoah to see bands like the Everly Brothers just perform on the stage there.
Right, yeah, the Everly Brothers, I mean, they're definitely the biggest artists that Shenandoah has ever had, and we have their hometown house set up in the middle of our downtown area, so people can drive by that, people can go inside and check it out. And growing up, yeah, I think in 4th grade, you have to sing an Everly Brothers song, Bye Bye Love, so I think that's their most popular song.
You know that song, Bye Bye Love? Can we just start that out?
Bye love, bye bye happiness, something like that.
See? There we go. Yeah. Can you do Wichita Lineman, by the way? I ask everybody that. Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell? Okay, maybe next time.
Yeah,
Every single band I ask about Wichita Lineman. Well, I think Caelan is going to do fine. I want to stress to people, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still hosting this show, but I wanted Caelan to drop by tonight, and he dressed up so nicely. I just want you to know who he is, so if he pops up on your screen one night, you'll be like, oh, Mike has the night off. Caelan's in charge. So to Kevin and Heidi, what's next here? What kind of music are we going to do next?
We are going to do some polka and some ragtime, and we're going to take a little journey through Nebraska. In the month of June, there's some fantastic celebrations in small towns celebrating a lot of Polish culture, a lot of Czech culture, Swedish culture, and we've had the opportunity to visit some of these communities, and it has influenced us in our musical selections.
Well, you are going to be right in line with our audience tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Caelan, we'll exit now. This is Quarantine Tonight on News Channel Nebraska.
So, yes, polka music. Would you ever think it would come from a piano and a violin? You're going to see some incredible accordion work. Not on an accordion, okay? He had to grow wings in his left hand so that he can manage those nice jumps, and we hope you really enjoy. Now, you may know polka in Polish means half step. You probably have danced it many a times. In a history, it came about at a time when dancing was getting kind of boring in the 1840s and 50s. This folk dance emerged in that half time and really brought dancing back to life. And so we've enjoyed playing some of these tunes. Now, some of these are some of the really old, traditional, original polkas. We do have a little bit of an American mix and definitely some ones you'll know. But let's just get started. This one actually was originally a Scottish folk tune. It was halftime, worked really well with that polka dance. Enjoy. And I'm probably speaking to some people in each one of these communities, but in the month of June, just last month, if you were to travel through Nebraska, you could enjoy a lot of celebrations. First stop would be Loop City, Nebraska, which is known as the Polish capital of Nebraska. If you're there, that's great. We come and play at Rose Lane, which is a nursing home there every month. And so I know they do stream it on the televisions. If you're there and happen to see us, hello. We sure hope you can find this show as well and enjoy some of the music. So, and then if we were to go down the highway a little bit more, we would visit some Kolachi towns. These have some Czech roots. And we have been in Verdigris. We love Verdigris, Nebraska. They're known as the kolache capital of Nebraska. They do make great kolaches, folks. I'm sure there's someone watching here who can attest to that. Multiple people, in fact. Go to their bakery, get a kolache. It's great. They had kolache days in June. And you could enjoy a polka church service among many other great celebrations in town. So if you didn't have a chance to make it, we hopefully will make you feel like you're enjoying a celebration of some kind, maybe with some of those Czech roots. Also, I've heard that a lot of the Czech immigrants who came and settled in that area were fantastic musicians, and so I hope we're representing them well. Here we go with another one of those great polkas. Yes, and so we kind of jokingly say this when we play polka. We play 3 different levels. The first being Czech polka, which is a little more moderate and a little slower. You can dance a few more of them in a row. Polish polka kind of picks it up a couple steps. And then the 3rd level is Kevin's polka. That, as you can see, his hands fly pretty fast. If you were to try to dance to that, you definitely want to hang on to something. And so it certainly is a lot of fun, and we're going to give you that opportunity to watch his hands coming up here. But we're headed down the road. We stopped at Verdigris, Nebraska, and I heard they make great kolaches. They're the kolache capital. I've also heard that Elba, Nebraska is somewhat considered a kolache capital as well. They put out thousands of kolaches and sell them. Someone a number of people participate in a baking competition, and so quite a big deal. Kolaches, all I know is a lot of people make great kolaches in Nebraska. Well, what did we play for? We played for Swedish Days in Stromsburg. Now, not to confuse a polka with a polska. A polska is like a quick waltz. It's a dance for the Swedish. A polka is that two-step dance. Well, you know, an accordion is a very important part of polka music. I'm going to give it back to Kevin. He's going to play an accordion-type solo for you, and we'll just see how fast he can play. Enjoy. Wow, you might have just seen some smoke coming off the keys for that one. So fast, a lot of fun. If you know my husband, Kevin, you know he likes fast. And so there's some fast polka for you. Now, speaking of Czech, not to ignore Wilbur, Nebraska. That's also a very important Czech community. And, well, speaking of Swedish, I learned something this year about Nebraska culture, and who is truly the Swedish capital is not yet confirmed, but I did learn this. So Stromsburg, Nebraska is the Swede capital. They had Swedish Days on June 20th. Maybe you were there, maybe you saw us. If so, that's wonderful. Then there's Oakland, Nebraska. That's not too far from here. They're the Swedish capital. And to make it even more complicated, there is a large number of Swedish in Holdridge, Nebraska, and they had their Swedish Days on the very same weekend that Stromsburg had their Swedish Days. So if you were Swedish and had to decide where to go, my goodness, that might be a little bit of a challenge there, but maybe you saw us. There's so much great culture to enjoy here in Nebraska. And so we're gonna bring you a classic coming up your way, and you will know this for sure. We can't hear you, but please sing along with this one. Okay, yes, the beer barrel polka, the most well-known, no matter what background you are, no matter if you're Czech or Polish or German or Irish or Scottish or English, whichever one, you will recognize that one. Very well known. Now, this might give you a little bit of a taste of what we could play for you. We could play some polka for you at whatever event you would like us to come to. Just a little bit different because it's instrumental. It's not your typical accordion and clarinet or whatever else you might have in the band. So, well, there certainly is some great music here in America. We're going to move on to more of an all-American genre, and here's a great dance story to go with it. So I've heard stories from small towns around Nebraska that when there was a town-wide dance, they would bring a hay rack to the middle of town, and people would dance around the hay rack while the band sat on top. That sounds like a lot of fun if you ask me. But I heard it wasn't necessarily always for the music. Apparently there was some great food as well. And we would have a little bit of a problem getting to the top of a hay rack, but we would still love to provide music for such an occasion. So if you love to dance, you love to have live music for your dances, let us know. We'd love to come. Okay, here's a little bit of a mix, ladies and gentlemen. Get this. Ragtime and polka. Wow, what an interesting mix. We're going to move to that ragtime genre. This is called the Whistling Rufus. Personally, my favorite. Okay, the Whistling Rufus. I don't know if that sounded like a whistler to you or not, but getting to some great, just uplifting music. That's what we love to play. And if we come play for you, we hope we would just make your day. So, ragtime music, we know Scott Joplin to be the king of ragtime. He was incredible, and he wrote many, many ragtimes, was made famous through a performance at the Chicago World Fair, which was like the America's Got Talent of his day. There was no TV back then, or radio at that. And And so it was all live music, which he has really inspired us in that area of live music. It's definitely worth the effort. And we're so glad, even though we're not quite live, we are live, kind of, right in your living room. I hope you're enjoying this moment. We're gonna strike up a little bit of ragtime music. Enjoy watching his hands. I'm just gonna kind of be like the rhythm guitar in the background.
Look at that. Isn't that something? We're so lucky to have the two of you. You know, the only thing you could add to your act is tap shoes. One of you needs to have tap shoes.
No kidding.
On a song like that. I saw you kind of chomping away there on that violin. Your fingers go about 1,000 miles a minute. Is that what everybody says to you? What's your, now, I know we've talked about this before, but Kevin, what would be your favorite song to play? I remember hearing the answer to this one time, but you've got one song that that resonates the most, that you like the most. What is that?
There's multiple. Like I like classical music. I specifically like Chopin.
Yeah.
And then,
that's what you played, I think, was that Chopin. The first time he was on, you and him were on. At the end, we did the grand finale. What are you thinking today for the finale?
It's Chopin.
Oh, well, I didn't even know that. I mean, how convenient is that he's on. He's back on again. What's the title of the song you're doing tonight for your grand finale?
We'll play a prelude.
Oh, okay.
His prelude is not the little prelude, like what goes in front of a lot of opera. There's usually, or a lot of musical, there's prelude, but his prelude is a whole, like a whole piece. So. Okay.
You know what? I would like to have the two of you as neighbors. You know, like sometimes my neighbors, they, you know, that in the past, you know, wherever I've lived, they play whatever song. And if you two were just like relaxing on a Sunday and doing this, it would be magical. Do your neighbors enjoy having you in the neighborhood? I mean,
we're not home most of the time.
Where are you? Where are you hanging out?
All over Nebraska. So usually if we have a few gigs in an area, we'll find a friend to stay with, and most likely they'll get some music from us while we're staying with them. But we're not home very often.
You are travelers.
We're travelers.
And now that COVID's over, you're back going to all sorts of different places.
Yes.
And they are open for booking. So if you're watching this right now and you would like them to come to your community, let's put that number up here. And they've also got a website. You can see their number there. I'm going to leave that up for a little bit.
Yes.
And if you call that, leave a message right now. You'll call them back. Obviously,
yes,
they're a little
absolutely.
busy right now. We're live. But that number gets you Kevin and Heidi Cheng, and they will travel to your location. So I know you have a lot of viewers that and folks up in O'Neill.
Yes.
They sent me like a packet of thank you cards for having you on one time. Now, where is that place in O'Neill?
That is called Evergreen, and I bet you're watching us now. They are so much fun. Thanks to Valerie Dempster, the activities director there. We go there monthly.
Oh, wow.
And we play music for them for about an hour or so. We also go to Country Lane in O'Neill, and we go to Good Samaritan in Atkinson. We also go up to Creighton, the Avera Hospital, and we recently played at Verdigris, the nursing home in Verdigris. So,
speaking of Atkinson, this Thursday you're going to be wanting to watch News Channel Nebraska. There is a firefighter first-class seaman from the U.S. Navy, last name Tushla, who lost his life in service to our country on Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. He's a Atkinson farm boy. And his remains were placed in a tomb of unknowns, and a special unit at Offutt Air Force Base used DNA from the Tushla family, and on Thursday his remains will be repatriated. They will be handed over to the Seger Funeral Home at Offutt Air Force Base, Stratcom, and they're going to have basically a procession from Omaha to Fremont up on 275 all the way west on Highway 20 to Atkinson, where he will be buried this Saturday. But this procession is on Thursday, and an American hero. He was in the engine room on the USS Oklahoma, and the Japanese suddenly attacked.
Right.
He lost his life, as did 435 total sailors on that ship. And thanks to DNA, they now know that they have his remains. He will be buried next to his mother and father at the cemetery in Atkinson.
Wow.
So your patriotic music, this program, certainly appreciated, and we will be honoring that seaman coming up on Thursday. So we're going to take a very quick break, because coming up next, what are we going to do? I know we've got Chopin coming up, but what else?
We have a grand finale. We have some fiddle. We have some Irish jigs.
Oh.
And we have some Chopin. So
We should get Kalen back out here. He's an
There you
Irishman.
go.
Yeah,
There
with
you
that name.
go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching News Channel Nebraska. This is Nebraska's favorite variety program, Quarantine Tonight. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We're back here on Quarantine Tonight with Kevin and Heidi Cheng. They are from Central City, where they officially have a residence, but they're on the road all the time.
Yes.
And you can book them for your next party. Ladies and gentlemen, take it away. Little Irish jig coming up.
So, yes, this is the last section. We're going to play some great, fun, fast melodies, but we kind of wanted to start this on a thoughtful note. So in everything that Kevin and I do, we realize that it is truly a gift from the Lord. And this last year, it was a bit of a challenge for us. The Lord tested our faith. We didn't know sometimes where our next job was coming from due to COVID, but we learned that true satisfaction does not come from money, or even though it is necessary, sometimes we tend to focus a little bit too much on that and less on what really matters. And this year, the Lord has shown us that Jesus is enough. And if we trust in Jesus for our next step, for each step, and knowing Him as Savior, He's given us so much peace and joy in knowing that He holds the future. And this can be true for you as well. So Jesus is enough. Here is "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." on that note, something we haven't mentioned yet, we are on YouTube. And thanks to a very wonderful music pastor who's letting us use professional video and audio equipment, we are recording some, what we hope are your favorite, as well as Kevin and I have a great love for sacred music. And so we are recording hymns that you can use in your church. If you don't have musicians available, you can pull up our music. You can sing along with it. It's very user-friendly. We would love for you to use that and to be blessed by it. And so Kevin and Heidi Cheng, C-H-E-N-G, those 4 words on YouTube. Check it out. Okay, a little bit of fiddling coming up next and a medley of fiddle tunes all together. Enjoy. That was a little bit of Devil Went Down to Georgia, Texas Fiddle Song, and Millionaire's Hoedown all in one. Whew. And so lots of fun. Now we've traveled around Nebraska, heard lots of fiddling stories. Fiddling might have been something you danced to, you grew up with. We've seen some beautiful fiddles in our lifetime that have probably were played back in the 1800s and provided people lots of joy. Okay, well, we're not finished dancing yet. Irish jigs are great. They're fun. They'll keep you lively for a long time, and it seemed like the Irish had a lot to dance about. So a little bit of Irish jigs and some Irish culture coming your way. Irish music is great. We love to play it all year long because it's so upbeat. There's a lot of them that came over from Ireland. Of course, you know, up in O'Neill, you're the Irish capital of Nebraska. You've heard some of this music before. Maybe even some of you have danced an Irish jig or two. Maybe you're not Irish, but you still enjoy the music. Let me tell you, you might be more Irish than you think. Here's an Irish saying. Life is like a cup of tea. It's all in how you make it. It might have been a tidbit of wisdom your grandmother told you. Well, that's supposedly an Irish saying. Here's a funny Irish blessing. Let those who love us, and those who don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if he doesn't turn their hearts, may he turn their ankles, so we know them by their limping. My goodness, what a blessing, huh? All from that Irish culture, some great humor. Of course, we know St. Patrick and St. Patrick's Day. He left a great legacy of being a man who turned with a great heart of love and a desire for his captors to come to know Jesus. He went back to Ireland as a missionary. So, Irish is great. Irish music is great. We have another Irish jig for you. Join in with us in your living room if you want. Even if you have your pajamas on, it doesn't matter. We can't see you. So here we go. Wow, okay, so before we go on to this last Irish jig, before the grand finale coming up here, here's what I've heard. Back in the day when entertainment was not as easily accessible, people would literally clean out their houses. I heard there were 2 major house cleanings a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. They would clear out the house, empty it out, and while it was empty and clean and aired out, they would have a dance. And so Kevin thinks we should have a dance. Maybe you know the reason why. Our house needs to be cleaned. So, but some of the great culture around here that I think maybe wouldn't be such a bad idea to continue. So, well, you might be in your house. I bet you're in your house right now. It might not be quite clean, but there should be enough room to at least dance. So if you'd like to, here's an Irish jig, well known within the American culture for quite some time, the Irish washerwoman.
Wow, some great music. We hope you've been enjoying it. We're now coming up to the grand finale. And just a reminder, check us out on YouTube. Kevin and Heidi Cheng, C-H-E-N-G, share it. Don't keep the music to yourself. Share it. We have some of those Irish jigs on YouTube, as well as we recently updated a listener's favorite, Danny Boy. And so you can listen to that again and again. And we're on Facebook, Kevin and Heidi Cheng, C-H-E-N-G. Click the thumbs up, which means you like us, and I hope you do. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here is a prelude by Chopin performed by Kevin Cheng. All right, folks, that wasn't the prelude quite yet. He has a quick one for you here, and it really is concentrated. So hang on tight. That was a Chopin Piano Sonata. Here is that Chopin prelude. It'll blow you away. So here we go.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you so much, Kevin and Heidi, for being on the show tonight and doing such a wonderful job. Loved the violin and the Irish music. That was fantastic. And I knew what was coming with Chopin. Like, I could write the end of that program. I've seen that before. It's just wonderful. And my only wish is that we had the big grand piano for you here so that we could enjoy the sound of that. But this thing does pretty good. You've got your money's worth out of it, haven't you? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kevin and Heidi Cheng, and I'm going to put their number up here. If you're interested in booking them across the great state of Nebraska, they're from Central City. They'll go anywhere. Let's put up that other lower third. That you can send me a note, and I can get your information too. But we'll get there. There it is. There's their number up there. Write that down, because these two are, this is what they do full time. They love to sing and perform. I shouldn't say sing, perform. And I will be honest, it's nice to have performers without the vocals, because you just really appreciate the instruments and what you can do with them. Do you hear that from people?
Yeah, well, I suppose a lot of people like to sing along with us, so maybe they're doing the singing part, we're doing the playing part.
They're just doing it at home.
That's right.
All right, it's time now for news on US 92. Good night, and thank you so much. It's 10 o'clock.
We now join regular programming on News Channel Nebraska.